And thank you so much to Adam Goren for appearing with us this afternoon for an Israel update, an Israel activism update to find out where we stand in this difficult environment. Adam, thank you for joining. I saw on your Stand With Us website in bold print, this is the 601st day since the hostages were kidnapped from
That's right.
Gaza to Gaza from Israel, and it's difficult. It's hard to believe. Yeah, it's hard to believe.
Very.
Yes, and I remember when, unfortunately, when this started, you were in Concordia at the time, I believe.
That's right.
You were at Concordia, and can you imagine that right now we're still in the same boat?
No, truthfully, it's shocking. First of all, thank you for having me on, Rabbi. It's great to be back. I think that, a lot has happened since the last time that we had spoken on this call, and so it's good to kind of see, where we've gone and where things have changed, because there has been changes and there has been a lot of progress, thank God. But there have been also a lot of instances of things that haven't changed. And so if you would have asked me 601 days ago if I would have thought that I would still be, having to fight for students' rights to just be Jewish on campus, I would tell you, no, it's not going to take that long. Eventually, people are going to wake up and realize what craziness Jewish students are experiencing and then immediately act to change that. And I think that would have been a little bit naive because things have been a lot slower than anticipated for the real meaningful change to happen. And so we're doing our
Yes,
best and we're continuing to push forward. But no,
correct.
601 days later.
Yeah, yeah. So it is interesting to see not only how things have progressed, but how you have progressed because you were at that time when it started, it was you were in Concordia, doing outstanding work there, and now you are working with Stand With Us, which is an international organization. You're the regional manager for Canada. That's a huge territory for you.
Yes, it's definitely busy. So my region is Eastern Canada. So it
Right.
entails anything from Ottawa east. So Ottawa, all of Quebec, as well as the Atlantic provinces, all follow under my jurisdiction. We have a team of approximately 9 or 10 people who are working across the country, all with the same goal of protecting Jewish students, of defending Israel on campus, and also of promoting Holocaust education.
Wonderful. Those are three very, very important departments that you're doing. And where do you mostly work to? Like, who do you mostly deal with? Are you talking about here at the college campuses, or do
Yeah.
you?
So my main responsibility is university campuses. Obviously, I'm based out of Montreal, and it's convenient because a bulk majority of the work that there is to do and of the pushback does happen at the two campuses here in the two English campuses here in Montreal, Concordia and McGill University. However, I also have two campuses in Ottawa, three next year, as well as Halifax and Nova Scotia. And we're always looking to connect with students in different universities across the country and to be able to hopefully bring Stand With Us to them. And at the very least, to support them in whatever they may be going through on their campuses, even if we do not have more of a physical presence on that campus at that point.
Excellent. And what about like for CJEP students?
Yep. So we also have coverage for CJEP students as well as high school students as well. CJEP students typically fall under a similar program as the high school students do, and so it would be one of my colleagues whose name is Matt. He's in Montreal as well, who takes care of high school and CJEP. But because I grew up and went through the CJEP system, being that I'm from Montreal, um, I was able to give a lot of advice, and so I've been helping out a lot on the CJEP front as well, and have been in contact with our CJEP fellows as well throughout the year to help them and support them in their endeavors.
Wonderful, wonderful. I remember when you were at Concordia, you were very connected and one of the founders of Startup Nation or Startup. I think it was called Startup Nation, which was
Yes.
bringing economic opportunities to college campuses and seeing how you can work through a business aspect. How is that doing in the years since you started it? How are they doing?
So they're doing great. They've expanded to now have pretty considerable presence at both McGill and Concordia, and have kind of unified their operations so that what's going on at McGill and what's going on at Concordia have a certain level of uniformity, which has been a really, really great thing for them. I've had the pleasure of being able to work with them on a few different things, collaborating Stand With Us alongside Startup Nation. They're truly doing great, great work. And fortunately, they're not the only student group out there. There are so many different groups out there, also working towards that same goal and working alongside each other in an amazing way. And so, in any given event, you'll have presence from Startup Nation, presence from Israel on Campus, SSI, so many student-led clubs and groups that work together, has truly, truly made it a big, truly a group effort, I would say. And so it's also been amazing to see how Startup Nation has been able to sort of incorporate that sort of need for partnership and that need for togetherness into their programming. And that's something that, once again, they've really, really focused on upticking, I think, throughout the year. And it's shown a lot of success. So I wish them nothing but the
Wonderful.
best. And it's been really fun to watch.
That's fantastic. Excellent. So that must make you feel good because I know you were there on the ground floor.
Absolutely.
Yes, yes. Now it's ironic and coincidental. Stand With Us is an organization that I know about because I remember when that organization was founded when I was living in LA, Los Angeles, by Roz Rothstein and a few others.
Yes.
And it just completely expanded into so many departments and it's an international now. It started out in one little office, and it's I guess it's really expanded. How do you feel being a part of that organization?
It's truly an amazing, amazing feeling. I mean, first of all, Stand With Us is the go-to, especially in the United States, for advocacy on campus. And the reputation that it has for being at the forefront and for being willing to protect students and to really stand up for what's right has been amazing. The truth is they treat their employees very, very well, thank God. And it's an honor to be able to work for an organization that really knows what's needed and is willing to address those needs in such a complete way. And given the size and given how big we've been able to grow, we have the resources to really, really make a difference on campus. And for 20 years, we've been able to really, really make that difference and really change the things on the ground. And of course, it hasn't always been easy, and we face our problems and our struggles like any other organization or any other group does.
Of course,
But at the end
yes.
of the day, I feel very, very lucky and very, very blessed to work for an organization that has the students back, but that also has its employees' backs throughout the
Yes.
entire process.
Now, since you are in Canada, how do you stay in touch with the home office, so to speak? You know, the people in the U.S. at California and L.A.
Yeah.
How do they maintain contact with you?
So we do have group chats and meetings with the American staff. Those happen depending, they could happen for a specific event. Sometimes they happen more on a monthly basis, kind of regularly. But we are in pretty regular communication with them. The truth is, though, given how large the Canadian operation has gotten over the years, we've seen massive growth in Stand With Us Canada within the last 5 years, but especially within the last 2 to 3 years. And our team has grown tremendously. Because of that fact, we've been able to have a certain degree of autonomy in our operations, just given the fact that the Canadian context for certain things is slightly different than the American context. And so we work together very, very, very well when we can and when we should. But we also are afforded a certain level of independence to do what we think is best for the Canadian context. And so we do work together. And then we have two conferences throughout the year that we send our students to in Los Angeles. The first one is the North American Conference. And so that conference is attended by both Canadian and American students. And that happens right away, like right before they even start their school year. So they get to meet everybody from all across all across the continent, and the staff also get to work together on that programming. And then the second conference being later on in the year, towards the end of their school year, where it's an international conference. So it's every Stand With Us office from all across the world, Canada, the United States, Brazil, South Africa, Australia, the list goes on and on and on. It's truly an amazing thing. But yeah, so that's how that works. There is quite a lot of interaction between us, and a lot of opportunities for us to bounce ideas off of each other between the Canadian and the American staff.
Perfect. Well, and what about Stand With Us interacting with other organizations in the local area, in the Montreal area? Are you guys also working together with them,
Absolutely.
sponsoring events and coordinating events?
Absolutely. We're happy to sponsor and partner up on events. We work with local organizations as well, smaller organizations, bigger organizations, national organizations, international organizations, city organizations. We truly try to mix it up as much as possible. And the one thing that we put a lot of emphasis on at Stand With Us is that unity is always a good show. It is always something important to project. And, whether that means doing some sort of a group event, bringing in a speaker along with, a bunch of different organizations who are all sponsored on, whether that's hosting a small lunch for students that belong to a few different Jewish or Zionist organizations. The idea that there's competition between organizations in this space just shouldn't exist. We're
Right.
all working towards a very important goal, and all of these different organizations and all of these different groups can provide something different and bring something different to the table. So rather than arguing amongst each other, we've taken an approach, especially since October 7th, of utilizing each other's strengths and working together in a show of unity and in strength.
Perfect, perfect. So I'm hoping that these kind of programs like that we do at Beth Tikvah, let's say, for example, these kind of recordings will be good for students that are getting ready to start their college years, because I bump into them at services a lot. I see some of the students that are either going into CJEP or going from CJEP to university, and they're all they have a little bit of anxiety. So I think it's great that you guys are out there for them, and that they should know that this is a resource for them to turn to. Is there
Absolutely.
is there a mechanism how that works? In other words, is there a field director that has to make a contact with them, or how do they get in contact with you guys?
So, I mean, I would say that for students, it would be best to find out who the regional manager is for their region. So, for students in Montreal, that would be me. And then the best thing to do is to reach out to me, whether that's on Instagram at my Instagram, Adam Goren 5, whether that's on through phone, through email, whether that's a million different ways to get in touch with me. I try to be as physically present on campus as possible, and so it's certain that you'll see me around at one point or another, whether I'm tabling at McGill or Concordia. But yeah, just really to just reach out. I'm always looking to meet new students, and I'm always willing to help and to support, and to make sure that
Perfect.
their issues are addressed.
Wonderful, wonderful. Because what about, I had talked to someone who was going, I think, to Queensland University. Is that possible?
Queen's University.
Queen's University.
Yeah.
Is that your territory?
It is not, but the regional manager for there is absolutely excellent. And if that student wanted to be put in touch with them, like by all means, let me know, and I'm happy to make the introduction. Her name is Jamie, and she's absolutely an amazing employee.
Excellent. Okay, excellent. And are you often working in collaboratively with Hillel on campus if they have one?
Almost regularly. No, not almost regularly, regularly. We coordinate on a lot of different events. Hillel has an absolutely massive presence on campus, and they're everywhere, as you know. And so, definitely, like when things make sense, we're always happy to partner with them. Hillel has also been amazing in Montreal because they've let us use their space for our events sometimes, which has been very, very much appreciated. They're a pleasure to work with, and
Yeah, that's
yeah,
great.
absolutely.
Excellent. I still remember that picture on Instagram that you were in a couple of years ago with you were putting on tefillin. And
Yep.
it wasn't exactly a great surrounding
No.
environment. You were being sort of harassed and it was hostile. And there you were, with one of the, I don't know if it was with the Chabad rabbi or in putting on the tefillin. And I think that Instagram picture had like 50,000 or 70,000 something views or something.
Yeah. Yeah, it was actually a TikTok. It was a video, which was even crazier because you got to hear you heard the screaming in the background as I was rapping tefillin. And truthfully, that's a video that um I've gone back to a lot in the last year and a half to remind myself um that I'm brave and that, that there's a purpose for this. Truthfully, that was a very, very scary thing for me.
Yeah,
We're surrounded by 300 protesters. The police had no control. There were no police for the start, excuse me, and security had no control either. And my friends were
yeah,
getting assaulted left and right around me. I had a flag ripped from my hand. It was chaos and pandemonium.
yeah,
And in that moment, my thought was, I need to go back and do and be Jewish because that's what resisting
yeah.
is. That's what
Right.
they hate to see is
Yeah.
strong and proud Judaism. And so I wrapped the tefillin, and I didn't realize at the time, but a friend of mine had recorded and sent the video out, and it ended up blowing up on TikTok, 130,000 views, I think it's at now, or something like that. And it was crazy, but it serves to me as a reminder of the importance of standing your ground, of pushing back, and that ultimately everything is going to be okay. I was okay. I left Concordia that day. I drove home. I was fine. Things were okay. It was scary, but I got through it through strength, not through being afraid. And I think that that was a lesson that I need to remind myself of sometimes because, the job gets nerve-wracking at times, and there are situations in advocacy where you're nervous and, things
Yeah, I can
things feel
only
scary.
imagine. I can only imagine. I want to start bringing this down to the conclusion. But my son Akiva in New York is involved with activism, and one of the interesting things is that with his group that he has is that there are many non-Jews that are with him and his friends who come and support them at rallies, at programs, and it's tremendous. You just don't know where people stand, and you never know. It's hard to predict where people are going to go, but
Absolutely.
there's some people that just have different in their gut feeling they want to be there for them.
And it's important to note that most people are are like that. Most people either truly get it and truly understand what's going on and they want to support us and they want to help us. And a bulk majority of the people who aren't in that category are either misinformed or uninformed. And that's an important thing to note that there lies an opportunity in the bulk majority of people if we connect with them and if we are able to inform them properly and not make them feel like they're not intelligent for not knowing, but rather to kind of walk them through it. There's a massive opportunity there. But I will say, though, that on the first point that you had made about, ally support and non-Jewish support, that has been the most inspirational thing for me ever. Stand With Us has a national Christian program. And so it's a group of Christian students that run events and go through the program just like everybody else. And seeing them at the conferences and getting to speak with them and understand their reasonings and understand how they feel about the anti-Semitism that has gone on for the last year and a half has been amazing, really. And it's truly, truly touching. And there's some of the most because for me, I don't feel like I've made a choice to do what I do. I feel
Mhm,
like this is
mhm,
my people under attack, and this is something that I absolutely have to do
mhm.
um, as a Jewish person.
Yes,
I see them as having made a choice to walk into this. They made
yes,
a choice to take up an opinion that may not be the most popular one. They made a
Right.
choice to put themselves at risk. And they do that for us. And they do that because they believe it's the right thing to do deep down to their core. And that's just it.
Yeah.
Frankly, it gives me the chills even to talk about it. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it is. It's very inspirational, and I have to say that you've been very inspirational in your endeavors these last year and a half, or close to 2 years, whatever. It's been a while, but you've been so adamantly out there to experience your right as a Jew, to express your views, and to stand up. And that's
thank
what it is. Stand with us. So it's really perfect, I think, that for you to be with them. So happy that morphed into a wonderful activity for you to use your talents and your skills and your brains. So we'll sign off now, but please let's keep in touch. Also, as far as Beth Tikvah goes, maybe you'll come down and do a program in the fall.
I'd love that.
And for the kids that are in high school, or for the kids that are at CJEP, they might not be in it, and so they might appreciate that very much, and seeing you in person on in Dollard.
I'd
So
love that.
yeah, yeah. So in the meantime, last week we said chazak, chazak. After we finished the Torah reading, I want to wish you chazak. I want to wish you more strength,
Thank you.
because there you were in the center of all that, and I don't know if I had the strength to deal with something like that, but you did. And so chazak to you, chazak to your group, chazak to all your staff that stand with us.
Thank
Please,
you.
if you do happen to speak to Roz, please tell her chazak to her, that everybody should have continued strength. We all pray for peace. We pray for better times, and we pray for peace for Israel. Israel wants peace. Israel wants to live in security. So, and we all want that. We all want that. So
Amen.
keep up the wonderful work you're doing.
Thank you so much, Rabbi. It was great to talk with you.
Excellent. I'm going to stop the recording, but don't go away yet, okay?
Sure.
Hang in there for 1 minute.
Sounds good.